you! Yeah, you! I've been making videos for 10 stinking years, playing garbage, and I'm sick of it! Well, I'm not gonna do it no more! Ah, who am I kidding? Let's play some shit! Hello, generic YouTube dude here, back with another ripping video. As you can see by my desktop background, today we'll be talking about Thomas the Tank Engine. And, wow, if there was ever a more interesting way to present a video, I probably can't be arsed. 10 years ago, I created my very first YouTube account after being inspired by the likes of so many different channels, and not long after, started to upload what I thought YouTube content was at the time. So to celebrate 10 years of creating videos, let's take a look back at the very first video I ever uploaded. Well, we've certainly come a long way since that Crash Bandicoot PowerPoint slideshow. No fucking way that's happening. So instead, let's go back even further to the seed of my creation. The creation of my love for video games. The first game I ever played. But hang on a minute, I've already talked about Crash 2. Oh, wait! Remember I mentioned back in my Hot Wheels review that Extreme Racing was technically the first game I ever played, despite not knowing how to press start on the title screen, so I immediately turned it off and played Cortex Strikes Back instead? Well, that's only half true. They were my first console games, although there is a tiny chance I played my cousin's Super NES before that. Honestly, I don't remember, but I'd actually been introduced to video games a few years earlier. Around the year 2000, maybe, when I was a little tacker, my mum brought home one of those old fat white brick computers. I never had internet at the time, but I did play Microsoft Paint almost every day. It was amazing. I'd play it until Thomas and Friends was on ABC, and then I'd watch the shit out of that. It's such a shame my first love has risen to meme status in the modern age, as it's one of the best children's shows ever made. I always loved how the realistic models used with some great practical animation work helped make the world feel real and actually pretty scary at times. I'll never forget the episode Haunted Henry with all of the fog and dark imagery. I mean, it's terrifying. It's badass is what it is. These days, Thomas is all CG and the charm has been drained out of it completely, but back when I was a kid, man, Thomas was the shit. So when I was first handed a computer game titled Thomas and Friends The Great Festival Adventure, I couldn't wait to boot that baby up. What you're looking at here is the first video game I ever played, for real this time. Not my original copy, unfortunately, but hey, I've spent half the video gasbagging already, so I think it's finally time we delve into the roots of my sickness. All the expensive tech in this beast PC, yet we have to run compatibility mode for Windows 95 just to get the thing to work correctly. What sacrilege. Oh, now look at that for a logo. They've even got my old font. Oh, how I've missed you, Bank Gothic. We're really taking a trip down memory lane today. Now don't get your expectations too high. This is nothing like the edutainment games kids grow up with these days, but for '99, it was pretty exciting. We start off with Sir Topham Hatt asking the engines to help in getting ready for the festival. Hearing Michelangelus's voice once again really takes me back.
Are you all sure you know what you have to do? I'm unloading packages at the harbour.
We zoom out to the island of Sodor where we can see all of the different games on offer, but of all the times I've played this, I don't remember actually playing them in order along with the story, so that's what we're doing today. First order of business is servicing the engines. We have to get them all nice and tight, oiled up and filled up. Not to mention washing off that hideous blackface. Don't worry fellas, we've all been there. Ah, now that's a spruce caboose.
Percy's driver had taken away the trousers and given Percy a good rub down.
Hey, like I said, we've all been there. This was one of my favourite parts of the game when I was younger, and once you're done, Gordon gets fucking tortured, which is always nice. Even everyone's mate Tomas thinks it's hilarious and just leaves him there to die. Now let's move on before this gets demonetised. Most of the other games here are much more in the realm of edutainment, with all of the symbol and colour matching stuff you'd expect from a game that you play fresh out of the womb. Unfortunately, the more enjoyable modes are front-loaded here, meaning that the longer you play, the more your interest starts to slip, which I'd say is really poor design for a kids game. Parents these days are relying on games and TV shows like Tomas to raise their children for them, so if it can't hold their attention, then we've got a problem. Next we get to help Harold move some rocks off the track, which is another one of my favourites, and then we move over to the harbour to help Cranky load trucks. But why is Tomas here? Where the fuck is Percy?
I'm unloading packages at the harbour.
Well then where are you, you lazy bum? Oh, showing up late? Well you're fucking done. Bring Diesel 10 in to turn Percy to scrap. For some reason, the Cranky game just killed the frame rate from here on out. I don't know if it's the Mode 7 going on in the background or all of the graphics on this seagull, but long story short, bring Diesel 10 in to turn my computer to scrap. From here, the events get pretty boring. Selecting the correct passengers with no variation, herding cows into a paddock with no stipulation, and then just selecting the correct shape in order to continue. At least with the Boulder game we had to pick where each vaguely similar shape had to go. This is pretty weak edutainment, I must say, but the story more than makes up for it, mainly because of these FMVs. Thomas peeps through a tunnel and we get to see him have a nice drink. Edward even gets assassinated by some troublesome trucks. It's adorable. What any of this has to do with anything though has me stumped. The final level was always disappointing for me. All you do is click around the screen to add more layers to the music. If there is one thing I can say this game could improve on, is providing more visual interactions. Look at a lot of other edutainment games out there. There is so much to click on within each screen that ultimately does nothing, but kids love that shit. The Great Festival Adventure has nothing like that. The game ends with a nice sunset and all of the trains reflecting back on their busy day, but I'm not satisfied with that. There are still so many questions to be answered. What happened to Edward? Why were people waiting at the train station if they weren't planning on catching a train? And why, oh fucking why, did that farmer let this cow escape? After all my slaving in the hot sun, it was for nothing. Great. At least I earned a certificate for my effort though. Once you finish up, you can go into the Fat Controller's office and look at all the certificates you earned, and see pictures of all the characters. You can even print them off to colour in if you'd like. Now, if I can remember correctly, the only time I ever tried to print something off of this game, it jammed my auntie's printer and I felt really bad, so in celebration, I'm going to spoil myself. At the end of the day, as much as I have good nostalgic vibes for this one, for an edutainment game, it's still lacking. The events are mostly fine, but don't offer much in the learning department, and some are just pointless. While the overall game looks and sounds great, with presentation very similar to the show, it lacks the above and beyond presentation a game in this genre should have. I wish I could score it higher, but unfortunately, this is nothing beyond mediocre. Thomas and Friends The Great Festival Adventure gets 4 out of 10. It's no wonder my life turned into a search for foul rubbish if I started my video game journey at a less than impressive title like this. really makes me wonder how this stacks up next to the sea of other Thomas games out there. Handheld titles, motion controls, and plenty more PC edutainment games. I hope we can make it back sometime in the future to take a look at some more, but for now, I just wanted to share with you my introduction to video games, but where we go from here, I have no idea. After covering The Simpsons, I found myself binge watching some classic Simpsons episodes, but honestly, I'm not too keen on doing that with old Thomas episodes. It's just not my thing these days. Well, aside from the Magic Railroad. So, I'm going to need another TV series, one to close out this mini trilogy of videos based on games based on TV shows. And I think I know the right place to start. Back where it all started. But until then, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share. I'm Square Eye Jack, and I hope you have a great fucking day. Thanks for watching.